Good to be back, Andy.
It's always good to see you, and I am so excited you were up for talking about one of my favorite topics, being codependency, and I'm so excited to hear your take on it. So, I guess let's just get started with what is your take on what codependency is as it relates to IFS?
Well, first, maybe I'll ask you, why is it one of your favorite topics?
Because it's been a lifelong, I guess, adult lifelong struggle to manage and gradually heal from transform codependent tendencies. I grew up in a family of I'm an adult child of an alcoholic. And so my father was an alcoholic and my mother was kind of, I guess, textbook codependent, enabling. And I modeled much of my personality off of hers. And so it's something that I love talking about it because I'm always working on it.
Well, I appreciate your disclosing all that. I
Yeah.
didn't want to demand that, but
No,
I think
I'm happy to.
yeah, I think it really does help the audience to know where we're both coming from. And so, yeah, as you alluded to, the term does come from the field of alcoholism treatment. And, I'm not wild about the term itself. As you probably guessed, I'm not wild about any monolithic labels for people,
Mm-hmm.
alcoholic. So for me, I don't know by now how much I have to go over this with your audience, but I believe that everybody has a lot of different parts.
Yeah.
And they form clusters in the way they protect us. And those clusters are what become diagnoses. And so all that label codependency does is describe it's a fairly accurate description of a cluster of protective parts that dominate certain people when they've been hurt in certain ways, or they've been socialized in certain ways, and stuck in certain roles in their family. And so, we can talk about the common parts that are involved.
That would be great. Yeah.
Okay, so in general, people with that label are dominated by parts that are they're caretaking parts, the huge, massive caretaking parts. And that actually is not a good place to start, because that characterizes almost half the population.
Mm-hmm.
Because women in general are socialized to elevate these caretaking parts, because we live in a patriarchal society. And so many women would qualify as codependent if they were in the right relationship. So, and these caretaking parts are desperate to make them feel good about themselves by caretaking,
Mm-hmm.
and also very reluctant to allow them to take care of themselves and set boundaries for themselves and stand up for themselves or ask directly for something. And so there are all kinds of communication problems. So not only with alcoholism, but most of the clients I work with, we do a lot with medical symptoms. Like we did a study with rheumatoid arthritis,
Mm-hmm.
40 RA patients in a control group of 40 here at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. And virtually all of them had that massive caretaking part. And the parts that were giving them the arthritis were polarized, were furious at the caretaking part for never letting them get access, never letting the client take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And as we worked that out, the arthritis got a lot better. Some people went into complete remission. So anyway, the biggest part with those with people with that codependent label are these caretaking parts. And generally, when you have a big caretaker, you have what we call an exile part, a part that is young and vulnerable and stuck in bad places in the past and carries what we call burdens, which are the definition, which is a extreme belief or emotion that came into you from some kind of negative interaction. It could be a trauma, it could be an attachment injury from a parent, and then attached to the part, almost like a virus, which we all know about the virus now.
Yeah, right.
And then drives the way the part operates thereafter. So many people with this massive caretaking part not only got socialized as a woman to lead from that part, but also got the message that they weren't valuable from their caretaker, partly because it's such a patriarchal society, or they're less valuable than the boys in the family or something like that, but also because, like you mentioned, they grew up in a family that was pretty dysfunctional and sometimes alcoholic. And so they, at a young age, not only got the message that they weren't important, their needs weren't important, and had to exile all that, but also for their survival, they had to take care of their parents, or they had to take care of somebody who, if they didn't take care of that person, they might be in peril. Mm-hmm. So then they also have this burden of fear for their own survival. So you've got this exile that carries worthlessness, and then you have an exile that carries a lot of fear about surviving. And then you have the protector, one is a caretaker, that thinks it's going to save your life by taking care of this person who you depend on to make it. Right. And then another protector who, in order for you to stay focused on this person's, being dependent on that person, has to deny all the things the person's doing that are hurtful to themselves or to you. So that's another protector. You've got the big caretaking part, and now you've got a big denying part. And then you have that, entitlement activity. Mm. So anyway, that's
yeah.
You got me going. Let me just see if I missed anything. You usually will have a part that wants to be liked by everybody and mm-hmm. try to please everybody around you, and is similar to the caretaking part, but it's also very focused on how you're coming across. It's very, very concerned with coming across in a certain way that people like, and gets very upset with you and can be very critical of you if you ever stray from that. Mm-hmm. So it's those three protectors: the caretaking, the people-pleasing critic, mm-hmm. and then the denying part.
Yeah.
And then the exiles, again, are the fear and then the worthlessness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those you pinpointed in that whole conversation just there, right? The fear and the worthlessness.